Tools needed are a bucket or something to hold your brake caliper, your brake pads with the hardware included, brake parts cleaner, your torque wrenches for tightening things, 13/16 for the wheel, and 10mm for all the rear brake stuff. You need a wrench or a power wrench. And then you need a box wrench to do the brake bleeder if you're going to bleed brakes or do it like I do it. Some copper anti-squeal, some brake lubricant, a couple flat screwdrivers, a pry tool, and then something to compress the caliper. This worked for me. I also have a brake tool. I just unfortunately didn't have it with me today. So you have a 10mm bolt there, 10mm bolt there. So my theory on it is you open the bleeder valve when you press the caliper. Let the fluid come out there rather than pushing it all the way back through the system. That way you get new fluid here instead of pushing the old back in. It's really a personal preference thing though. Squeeze that tab to release this. You want to make sure you don't hang that from the brake line. So use a bucket or strap or something to hold it. And you can see this inner pad looks almost new. The outer pad is worn down quite a bit. So it's tough to say what might have caused that. They might not have greased these properly. Who knows? But I'll go ahead and replace them. The other thing is I have typically seen the spring on the bottom, not on the top. So I don't know if they just installed these backwards. For this change, I'm using the Bendix Fleet Metlok ones. I wasn't real overly impressed with the ones that I used on the 08, so I'm going to see if these are better. They also include the hardware. Seems like more and more now they're including the hardware, whereas old days that was all separate. Well, they didn't even use the police one, it doesn't look like, because that's the police. This looks like a AutoZone or something, possibly a civilian pad. Interesting, since I got this from the police department. You want to put something on the back of the pads to keep them from squealing. This stuff seems to work pretty well. Spring loaded, so you kind of have to push it and out. The easiest way is probably just take a screwdriver in there and in there and just free it. And use that lip there as leverage to slide it up. See, that one was really worn down, and also not the police one. Clean that. So I do the bleeder method instead of forcing it back into the master cylinder. That's what it took. A really powerful clamp. Take our pad, under pad, and just push it in. Like I said, I'm putting the spring on the bottom because that's how I've seen it done every other time. And that one just slides over and then locks into place. Sees it. So these can glide freely on there. And then you want to put something like this on the bolts. Clean off our guide pins. Again, the torque setting is 18 for 2003 and newer, and 20 for 2002 and older. Bleed it. Close up the bleeder valve real tight. Anti-squeals here, keep these from rust welding to the wheels. Anti-squeals these to keep your lug nuts turning easier. After bleeding, you want to check your master cylinder and top it off. Pump the brake to set the pads. And then start out with a slow road test to make sure that you have brakes before you start driving normally.